Alright folks, welcome back to Street City Studio. I'm John. In today's video, I want to talk about X-Men. I just finished, last night, I finished the last episode of the first season of X-Men 97. I don't know how many of you guys are watching that, but I assume most of you are at least starting it or interested in watching it. You probably wouldn't be tuning in if you weren't. But I don't want to give away like a lot of spoilers or anything. I don't really want to get into a lot of the details of the show. But if you haven't finished the show, just a heads up, I may touch on some things vaguely, right? I don't want anybody to be too shocked or surprised by anything I say. But again, I'm not really getting into the plot of the show much. But just a heads up. But watching the show definitely made me want to pull out some of my, or all of my 3 3/4 X-Men related figures and kind of start sorting them out here in the purpose of looking for gaps, really, to see. For example, I know I don't have a 3 3/4 Professor X yet, and that's something I need to get on top of here eventually. But he was never the most important figure for me, just because, you know, he'd be in the background. He's not the front line infantry, so to speak. I've always kind of been more of a face collector, right? The front lines guys, the guys out there doing the first hits and stuff, right? Taking the big blows, right? Hulks and Thors and Wolverines, right? I was looking for a stand for him, but that's alright. And man, I've been a big fan of X-Men since mid 80s, right? Late 80s maybe. So I know when the Fox live action X-Men movies started coming out, I was a big fan of all of that, even when the movies weren't great, right? I was real happy to see some of that stuff, right? Like the third X-Men film wasn't great by anyone's standards, I don't think, but it was still the first time we had seen the Phoenix story on screen, you know? It was still really cool, and it was the first time we'd seen lots of characters like Juggernaut. I know, looking back, like a lot of people don't like that Juggernaut. Right? But personally, I was a big fan of that Juggernaut, right? I even made it custom. It's not the best custom in the world. He's kind of huge. But he looks good in certain shots. I'll get certain photos with him, and he looks pretty good. But I'm kind of sorting out my X-Men. I just wanted to look for some gaps like Professor X. Right. But I know I got, as far as like Wolverine goes, I've got almost every Wolverine I could need. Right. Ooh, knocking my camera around already. Off to a great start. Here. Will I stand? There he goes. That's that first appearance Wolverine. Right. X-Force. Black. The red eyes. Come, stand up. There we go. He's off screen, can't see him. Let's see. We'll make some adjustments here. Oh, of course. That's what I get for not putting them on stands. That's alright. They don't all need to be here. Right, we got the cartoon style right there. Right. Madripoor black suit. That's like, the lighting's terrible. Let me get out of the way of that. There we go. Start coming in from that side. I got now these ones again, just like them. I'm not gonna mess around with trying to stand them up, right? X-23 Wolverine and X-Force X-23 Wolverine. Both versions of Warpath. See if I'll stand up for a second. Where is he? Yeah. And his brother. And I like this figure. See, Thunderbird figure here. He's a great figure because you can use him as Thunderbird or Warpath at the beginning of his story, right? Because he started out wearing his brother's suit. And I even tend to think, just because of the flatness of the hair, that might be Warpath instead. Just because I tend to think of Thunderbird as having slightly bigger hair, right? But even, I got the more modern custom of Thunderbird there. Squeeze them in. Both of them, if I can. Alright. I'll start squeezing these guys to the back, maybe. But now, I had a lot of figures I didn't want to include, too, right? And I'm going to throw them in here quick, but like Tusk and Sauron and some of these villains that I keep around, I'm not going to really drag every one of them in, but I did want to drag in, Toy Biz Apocalypse, because I think that's a much better choice just for the animated style shell for the classic traditional look, right? Just because the Marvel Universe one is not very classic or traditional, right? It's very modern and new style kind of art, right? And that's not the Apocalypse I grew up with. That's the Apocalypse I grew up with. And this is a cool look, don't get me wrong. It's a cool rendition. It's a cool take on Apocalypse. It's very modern, very techno-organic looking, and I get it. I like it. But this is my first choice, right? I wish this was more articulated. And I've thought about trying to add some articulation to it, but I want to keep this one as is for now. Right. And I'll keep him right here. Right. But I do have a couple of those that I did want to include. Right? Like Sasquatch here. The old Toy Biz Sasquatch. And really only because the only reason Sasquatch is getting included in there is because of Puck, right? That's the dynamic duo right there, Sasquatch and Puck. Let's see if we can. There we go. We'll get the brothers out of here. Alright, but I'll try and knock through some of these bigger figures and push them to the back here. Alright. But that Toy Biz figure is the perfect one. I've seen people use, the Build-A-Figure and stuff, and I think the Build-A-Figure looks real good, but it's not as orange like it should be for a classic animated style or comic book style look, right? It's kind of more modern if it's a tannish brown like that. But I think it needs that orange, right? Just like Ben Grimm from Fantastic Four, if they try to take away that orange, it just doesn't look right. But, another Toy Biz figure, right? And probably the last one I'll even bring in, I think, is Strong Guy. And I'm a big fan of Strong Guy. And I really need a better Strong Guy figure for my scale. But this is the best I've got right now, right? And just like Sasquatch, I probably wouldn't even be including him if I didn't have, more of a team to fill it out, more X Factor characters. And I said I want to bring in more Toy Biz, but he's not really going to stick around either, just like Tusk. Right? But, up here. But I did want to include Strong Guy, right? Because I do have a good little bit of X Factor here. Some Multiple Man, and this Multiple Man figure, I love this Multiple Man figure. I've got 5 of them right now. And 4 of them, I usually only use 4 of them for shots because one of them, which one is it? Is it this first one? This first one's got, no, it's one of them. One of them has a damage to his arm. This one, yep. See, there's some damage to his arm right there. Right there you can see the joint's starting to fall apart, and I just kind of leave them alone for now. Right? Keep them, and so usually if I take pictures, you'll only see a group of 4, unless I really want to squeeze them in there. But I do have 5. And what else I got? Here we go. We got Havoc. All right, let's start moving Wolverine back. We got Havoc. Can you see Havoc there? Yeah, a little bit. Cable and Baby Hope. Cable's best friend, Deadpool. Now I need that black and gray Deadpool eventually. I don't have that. That's another gap, I feel like. I'm kind of spilling into X-Force now, and might as well. Right? There's Psylocke. Oh, let me get out of the way. Psylocke. What else I got? Oh, I totally skipped over. All right. There's Vindicator back there with Puck and Sasquatch over here. Right. Get into who we got? Both versions of Beast here. That's a gap, I feel like. I've got this gray Beast, right? Dark Beast there, and Cat Beast. And neither of these are my favorite. My favorite would be something like the Showdown or something like that, right? The traditional classic, right? Beast like he looks in '97, or the end credits scene of the Marvels, right? Traditional Beast, blue fur from the cartoon. I don't prefer either of these as a main Beast figure, but I do have them, and there they are. We'll go with some bigger figures here first, just because they're bigger. Try and get them out of the way. Right. Here, get Beast out of the way. They're taking up too much space for a figure I don't like. Especially that cat Beast. I don't understand why he's got... I'm going backwards now, but I don't understand why he's got 3 fingers. Right? That wasn't part of his mutation. Even his feet. His feet have the appropriate amount of toes. I don't know. Whatever. But we'll move on. Bigger figures. Here we go. Alright, I got several Marvel Universe juggernauts. I've got 2 with the helmet, and this one I had pried his helmet off at some point, boiled it and pulled it off of there. But I also have the unmasked juggernaut. Got here we go. Here, I'll pull him back a little bit. Got the dark brown saber tooth with the long hair. And we got the shorter hair with the lighter brown. Kind of more Capcom Marvel, I think this one was. Right. But it's the lighter brown saber tooth, the shorter hair. I like that. I like having long hair and short hair, depending on what style I'm going to be going for with it. Push him back a little bit, maybe. And we got Mr. Sinister. And see, I never understood, like I said, about Apocalypse. This Mr. Sinister is very traditional. Oh, he's not going to stand up good. That cape's too heavy. There he goes. They went with a very traditional Mr. Sinister. But, Apocalypse, where'd he go? Where did I move Apocalypse to? Right here. Right. Why didn't they go with the traditional Apocalypse to go with him? I would have liked that. Oh, come on. Get out of here. You can both get out of here. Giving me a hard time. I suppose keeping in rank of size, kinda. I suppose these guys could have come a little earlier, but I did finally, not too long ago, finish my Archangel. Right? All 3 Archangel transformations. Right? Original Angel. The Apocalypse's Death Archangel. And back to the X-Men, modern X-Men, blue-faced Archangel. And I really like having all 3 of them. They kind of need their own space too, just because of the wings. Next up, we can go with one of my favorites, Silver Samurai. He was one of my favorite figures. He's one of my favorite figures, but he was always one of my favorite villains for Wolverine to fight, too. I always felt like there's a lot of personal tension there. But we can start cutting into more normal-sized figures here, too. Mystique. Right. Some Cyclops. And I should probably slow down and cover Cyclops here. I got a couple of them. Right? I got the more modern Uncanny, I think. Right? The traditional Marvel Universe. And then the more recent X-Men 97 version. And they all got their pluses and minuses, really. Right? Especially between these two. Let's see. Push them back a little. But I really think this is probably my favorite costume. Move right on. Oh, I should have covered him sooner. We got Colossus here. He could have been covered in the larger figures, I suppose. But he was underneath some guys. But I got a very classic Colossus from the 90s. And just a slight update for the Uncanny, I believe. And they do look very similar, but they are slightly different. Ooh! Wow! Sorry. Forgive me. Alright, but there's differences in the metal. This one's more blue. This one's just straight gray, kinda, in comparison. No fancy cuffs on the top of his boots, obviously. Right. And the shoulders flare up on this one and down on this one. But I like them both, I really do. Just depends on what figures I'm trying to pose them with. Oh, I missed another Wolverine. Oh, this one's Dakin, but I got brown suit Dakin. Oh, come on, stand up. There we go. Brown suit Dakin and brown suit Wolverine. Could have covered them back with the other Wolverine figures too. But I was never a big fan of Dakin, but I like the figure. I'm not a big fan of Wolverine fighting his own kids, I guess. Those stories never really interested me much. I always much preferred stories like X-23 Laura. I'm blocking that light again. X-23 Laura Kinney, right? Where Wolverine's rescuing Laura from the Weapon X program and stuff. I always like that better than fighting his son. Right? Oh, we got. Who else we got? We got Kitty Pryde. I should have grabbed some stands. We got Jean Grey. Now, this isn't my favorite Jean Grey costume. I need a better Jean Grey figure, but that's the Jean Grey I'm working with at the moment. That's the only one I got at the moment, so it is what it is. But I got, what else I got? 2 different storms, right? That's very classical, traditional. Even got a lot of screen time in that 97. And likewise, the all-leather Mohawk Storm, who also got much love in the 97 show, which I appreciated, really, both of these storms. Now, I do like the all-white costume storm, and that would probably be my first choice, but I unfortunately don't have an all-white costume storm. Those are the storm figures I'm working with at the moment. But that's what I'm saying. We're looking for some gaps here, and that's one of them. Alright, we got Rogue from the 97 line that's on the shelves right now. Got, here we go. Nightcrawler from the Marvel Universe line. And that's a great figure, really. I don't even think I need a better Nightcrawler ever. Gambit. Right? And I do need that 97 Gambit, because this Marvel Universe Gambit is not very classic or traditional. It does take some liberties here. Specifically, his little scarf and his pink shirt. Right? Everything's kind of had some textures added and some tweaking. Right? I like that very traditional X-Men 97 figure that's on them shelves right now. But unfortunately, I'm not about to spend the $50 or $40 they want for the whole set, because I've pretty much got everybody else covered. He's the only figure in that set that I really need. And even the Storm from that set, I don't really want the Mohawk Storm. I want the long-haired Storm in white, just because I already have, right? I already have a Mohawk Storm. I never felt like the white costume needed the Mohawk. I don't know if that's my favorite combination, but I get it, right? And I understand it. I didn't hate it, but I think I do like the longer hair with that costume. I don't know if Marvel Universe or Showdown, I'm going to have to look into that and see who has the better figure. I'm trying to think. Did Marvel Universe have a Storm figure? I'm not 100%. I'll worry about it later. I'm trying to think. These might be my last 2 here coming up. Let's see. Take a quick look around at my shelves. Yeah, we're coming up on the end. Hoorah. Last 2 would be one of my least favorite figures is this Iceman figure. And I think I would like this figure a lot more if they didn't add this silver paint. Not to the boots, gloves, not this X on the chest. I don't like any of it. Right? When he looked like that, he just looked clear. Just make him clear. I would have been fine with that. But it really, I don't know who made that choice or why they made that choice, but it was a bad choice. It's the wrong choice. But I really am a big Iceman fan. I like his powers. I like his personality. And he was the youngest on the team. I like to play pranks on everybody. Right? But a much better figure, if it'll stand here, is this figure from the Wolverine line. Or was it Wolverine Origins, I think. Right? And that Iceman's perfect. He's not the most posable. He doesn't have wrist articulation and whatnot. But he looks good in that pose, right? Serves the purpose he needs to. And that's good enough for some figures, right? Especially when you're comparing them to figures, right, that aren't even well articulated at all. I've got holdovers from right, generations ago. So it's not like not every figure needs the most articulation, but certain ones definitely do, right? Like Nightcrawler, he's an acrobat, so he might need a lot of articulation, right? Characters like Deadpool and Silver Samurai, characters that might be doing things like sword fighting and stuff, they need more articulation. But like I said, those were my last two X-Men figures. I think there's definitely some noticeable gaps, right? Like I said from the start, I could use Professor X, I could use a classic Beast, a classic Storm, even characters we never even mentioned, right? I don't have a good Bishop, I don't have a good Forge. Jubilee is one that comes to mind. Right, but I definitely need to grab a paper and pencil and start making a list. I could probably go on for 2 pages if I get carried away, but there's definitely some that stand out. And characters, the list, if you widen your criteria, you can definitely include lots of things, right? And that's why I tried to draw a line with characters like Tusk and Sauron, and right, even characters like Gladiator from the Shi'ar, right? I didn't know if I should include him or not. Right, and certain even most villains aren't in the X-Men, right? But the main X-Men, I definitely like to finish out the main X-Men. Right, get me a better Jean Grey. I think I got Cyclops covered pretty well, but get me at least a traditional Jean Grey and a Phoenix, right? Because this is the least classic costume, I think. It's not bad to have it, but it doesn't, where is he? Right here. It doesn't really mesh up with the classic Wolverine so well, right? You gotta dig out something a little more modern, right? Like the Astonishing or the Uncanny, right? But that's about it, I think. Right? I'm not gonna sit here and make you watch me write the list. But as always, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, coming by and checking the video out. It's Thursday, so we're almost at the end of the week, but have a good rest of your day, have a good rest of your week. If you want to check out my Facebook or Instagram, I'll leave the links down in the description. If you want to leave a like, comment, subscribe, I appreciate it, as always. Keep playing with them toys. I'll talk to you again real soon.